Hi everyone, I'm the Tax Pro and this is our Accounting 101 course. This is lesson 4. And today we're going to dive into the different types of businesses. So when we talk about different types of businesses, there is a distinction between the legal type and the tax treatment for businesses. So we are going to be focusing on the different tax treatments, but I want you to be aware that the legal type and the legal formation for the business, it will dictate in part the way that the business is taxed, but there are a lot of different tax elections and options that we can do. And so when it comes to legal entity types, you are going to run across very commonly LLCs, which stands for limited liability company. You may also run across corporations. There are other different types of legal entities, such as partnerships or professional partnership organizations. The legal entity type just determines the default tax treatment for the business. Okay. We have different ways that we can elect to have a business taxed differently. So, for example, an LLC can be taxed all sorts of different ways depending on the number of owners and what sort of elections we make. I also want to mention that from a tax perspective, the business does not actually have to be formally registered as something along the lines of an LLC or corporation. If, for example, I decide to go out and start cleaning homes, I could just do so under my own name and I don't have to have an LLC as long as, my state or city doesn't require me to register my business. I don't have to. From a tax perspective, I could still have a business as long as the business has a primary profit motive. From an IRS perspective, it is considered a business. And we'll go over that in other courses, in other lessons. But forming a LLC also does not guarantee that the IRS is going to treat that as a business. It's another thing that we'll go over. So let's dive into the different types of businesses we can have. The simplest type and the most common is a sole proprietorship. So a sole proprietorship has one owner. And from an IRS perspective, a sole proprietorship is considered disregarded for taxes. That means that the sole proprietorship is not considered separate from its owner. Okay, it doesn't have its own tax return. It is considered to be one with the owner. Now, that doesn't mean it's disregarded from a legal perspective, okay? We're going to talk about the accounting and the tax side. But from a legal perspective, if you form a LLC, for example, you may have a separate kind of entity or almost like its own person. But from a tax perspective, it's not separate. However, the IRS is still going to want to see you having, your bank account separate and your finances separate and that kind of stuff. It's just, we call it a disregarded entity. It can be an LLC or a similar organization. The most common type that I see is an LLC, but you don't actually have to have a formally registered business in order to have a sole proprietorship. Like that cleaning example, I can go out and I could start doing something like walking dogs or something along those lines. And I could essentially have established myself as a sole proprietor for tax purposes, but I've never registered my business formally. We see that a lot as well. For federal tax purposes, a sole proprietorship, the activity is going to be filed on a Schedule C, most commonly. Schedule Fs are for farms, and Schedule Es are going to be things like a rental property. So you may have a rental property that is held under an LLC, and that rental property generally goes under a Schedule E. All of these schedules are actually filed as part of your individual tax return or Form 1040. So while we summarize the business information on these schedules, we don't actually pay any tax with those schedules. Those schedules are attached to our Form 1040. That information flows through onto a couple of different schedules and forms, and then it's just summarized with the rest of our activity on that tax return, and that's how we pay tax on it. So sole proprietorship doesn't have a standalone tax return. It has a schedule that is attached to your Form 1040. This is the most common type of business that you will see. This is also going to be the type of business that we are going to start with when it comes to understanding equity accounts and understanding how transactions flow through onto the chart of accounts and into the accounting equation and all of that, because it is the simplest type of business. It's the easiest to understand. Next is a partnership. So a partnership is very similar to a sole proprietorship. It just has more than one owner. Okay, so it has two or more owners. A partnership can be an LLC or a similar organization. It also doesn't have to be formally registered. So very similar to a sole proprietorship. However, a partnership does file its own tax return. A partnership files Form 1065 at the federal level. And this is normally what we call an informational return, meaning that it is literally filed with the IRS just to provide information. So we have to summarize the partnership activity as a whole, and then we have to divvy it up between the different partners. When we file this Form 1065, we then prepare a Schedule K-1 for each partner, and we give each partner a Schedule K-1 saying, this is your share of the partnership's activity for the year. And then those partners individually take that Schedule K-1 and they take that information, enter it onto Schedule E on their Form 1040, their individual tax return, and then they pay tax at the federal level on their personal tax return. Very similar to a sole proprietorship, except we file this Form 1065 so we can divvy up that income or loss activity between the partners. A sole proprietorship, we don't have to do that because there's only one owner. But with a partnership, we have to divvy it up. So that's why we file that Form 1065. The Form 1065 is due a month earlier than the individual tax returns. A lot of people don't realize that. So Form 1065 is due March 15th instead of April 15th. And that's so those Schedule K-1s can be issued. And then those individual partners can get their tax returns ready. So it's a partnership. This is commonly, we see these a lot as formed as LLCs. There's also other types of entities, legal entity types in certain states, such as, partnerships are literally called partnerships, formal partnership type formations. But again, you don't have to have a formal organization for a partnership. The next one is going to be a corporation. Corporations are generally formed for larger companies. So if you think of Google, Amazon, Apple, those are all corporations. And these corporations, when we think of those, we're actually thinking of subchapter C corporations or C corporations for short. Generally, corporations are formed because there's going to be quite a few owners. So if you think of those large corporations, they have a lot of owners. Corporations are normally filed as a corporation at the state level. Okay, so instead of an LLC, generally they're filed as a corporation. This is the default tax treatment for corporations. But you can have an LLC and elect to have it taxed as a C corporation. So you can actually have an LLC that is taxed as a C corporation. That is allowed. There is a tax election that we make, and then we can have that LLC taxed as a C corporation. C corporations are kind of a different beast than what we've talked about. So a C corporation files Form 1120 for taxes, and a C corporation actually pays taxes at the corporate level. So think about Google, think about Amazon and Apple. They're responsible for their own income tax, right? It's not what we call a flow-through entity where the income flows through onto the owner's return. It's a standalone company. Corporations are generally going to be formed for, kind of larger companies that are planning on maybe going public or, that are looking for specific types of investors because they have some really beneficial tax treatments. in the event that somebody comes in and invests and then later down the road sells the corporation stock. So C corporations we see generally with larger companies or companies that want to be able to raise capital by issuing stock. But we do have some small businesses that will be formed as C corporations and don't elect to be taxed as anything else, because you can have a corporation formed at the state level and then we can make tax elections so that they're not taxed as C corporations. From a tax perspective, C corporations are subject to what we call a double layer of taxation. It's one of the downsides. So because the C corporations pay tax at the corporate level, and then in order to distribute the earnings to the shareholders or the owners, because we call owners and corporations shareholders. So when the corporation distributes its income, it issues what we call dividends. So like if you own stock in Google or in Apple, you'll own the stock and then the corporation may declare dividends where they send you money, which is then distributing income to the shareholders. When those dividends are distributed to the shareholders, those shareholders then pay tax on those dividends. So we have a double layer of taxation, once at the corporate level, when the corporation files Form 1120, and then again at the shareholder level, when the corporation issues dividends and the shareholder then files their tax return and pays taxes on those dividends. So this is a C corporation. Now we're going to kind of dive into a different hybrid. This is an S corporation. S corporations are a tax election. There is no legal formation that says I'm an S corporation. You have to make this tax election on the federal level, okay? This is something that you elect into. So you say, I'm going to take my LLC. I don't want it to be taxed as a sole proprietorship or a partnership anymore. I want it to be taxed as an S corporation. Or you can take your corporation and you say, I don't want it to be taxed as a C corporation. I want it to be taxed as an S corporation. It is a tax election. So there's no legal entity type that is automatically taxed as an S corporation. Now you do have to have a qualifying entity, and it does have to be incorporated, which means that it has to be registered as a business with the state. An LLC is incorporated, even though it's not a corporation, which is confusing, but it just has to be registered as like an LLC or a corporation at the state level. Now the S corporation files a Form 1120-S for taxes, and very similar to a partnership, it prepares K-1s for each shareholder. S corporations generally do not pay tax at the federal level. Instead, they prepare Schedule K-1s, and the income is passed through to the shareholders, and the shareholders pay tax on the S corporation level, or on the S corporation income at the individual level. This eliminates that double layer of taxation that we have with C corporations. So remember, with C corporations, the C corporation pays tax at the corporate level, and then the shareholder pays tax on the dividends. S corporations, on the other hand, the corporation generally does not pay tax. That income is transferred to the shareholder tax returns, and they pay tax at the personal level. So it eliminates that double layer of taxation. That's a really nice part of an S corporation. So why would you want to have your sole proprietorship or your partnership taxed as an S corporation? It's because it reduces, when used properly and implemented on the right types of businesses, it reduces FICA taxes, which is your Social Security and your Medicare. That's what makes up your self-employment tax. Sole proprietorships and partnerships generally pay self-employment tax. That self-employment tax is 15.3%. Now I say generally, because not all of them do, okay? And I say when used properly, an S corporation reduces FICA taxes because there's some catches in there where an S corporation doesn't do that for all businesses. And we see a lot of small businesses elect S corporation status really prematurely. And then they end up creating kind of a headache, and it costs them more money in the long run. So S corporations are a tool that we'll go over later, but they're this hybrid between like a partnership or sole proprietorship and a C corporation. They have benefits of each one, but it is a tax election. It is not a default treatment, and it is not a legal entity type. Okay. So these are the main types of businesses that we will see in small business and medium-sized businesses. If you are going to go into like public accounting and you're going to handle publicly traded companies, generally those are C corporations. Occasionally you will see publicly traded partnerships. Those are not as common as C corporations, but you will sometimes see them. We are going to start with sole proprietorships because the equity side of sole proprietorships is a lot easier to understand. And once we get that down, then we'll branch out into these other entity types, and we will cover all of them. So we'll cover the entity, every single entity. We will cover how those equity accounts are structured and what that looks like. If you have any questions, please let me know. And then in the next video, we are going to dive into the accounting equation where we'll take a look at assets and liabilities and equity. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope that you guys found this helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.